Dibisyon ng Biliran Alternative Learning System kasama ang buong kagawaran ng edukasyon at kaagapay ang pamahalaan ng probinsya ng Biliran ay buong pusong inihahandog ang programang pangradyo na pinamagatang Als Radyo Eskwela. Ito ay inyong mapapakinggan tuwing Lunes at Biyernes sa ganap na alas 11 hanggang alas 11:30 ng umaga dito lamang sa 103.9 Radyo Natin FM. Walang makahahadlang, walang maiiwan sa Alternative Learning System. Tiyak na may pag-asa, sama-samang lilipad para maabot ang pangarap sa hamong kinakaharap. Patuloy na aangat, edukasyon para sa lahat, sulong edukalidad. Ito ang DepEd Als Radyo Eskwela ng Dibisyon ng Biliran.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. A pleasant morning to all Biliranon. To our dear listeners and learners of Alternative Learning System, hello and a blessed morning to all of us.
Today is a brand new day for another episode of our Biliran Als Radyo Eskwela. New ideas, insights, informations will be shared with all of you dear listeners, especially to our Als learners.
I am Teacher Ruben, your anchor for today, and I am here to give more nourishment to your mind.
And I am Teacher Jake, your co-anchor for today's episode, and I am here to add new informations on your bank of knowledge.
Welcome to Biliran Als Radyo Eskwela. Good morning, Sir Jake. I am glad to be your partner today in delivering new and interesting topic that will enlighten our mind, broaden our understanding toward a common issue that most of our youth of today are facing.
Good morning to Sir Ruben. I am also delighted to be your partner for today's episode. But before we start our main discussion, we would like to remind everybody that you can listen and follow the program of Als Radyo Eskwela on 103.9 Radyo Natin FM Naval Biliran and on their Facebook page.
That's right, Sir Jake. So dear listeners and learners, inform your friends and anyone who are interested to follow the Als Radyo Eskwela that they can listen and follow our program on 103.9 Radio Natin FM station, and also they can watch us live on their Facebook page. And now let us start our main program. Is everybody ready? Very good. Free your mind and yourself of any worries and focus on our discussion. For today's episode, we are going to discuss a very much interesting topic.
Yes, dear listeners, we want all of you to be comfortable and very much ready to join in our discussion. We hope that all of us started the day with a nutritious meal and conditioned our body and mind as well to face the challenges for today, and one of these is to listen to our program from the beginning up to the last or ending part. Now, open your mind, turn on your thinking caps, brace yourselves, and we'll be moving on.
Ready your pen and notebook so you can easily jot down the important facts that you will learn all throughout the discussion. After our discussion, you should be able to cite signs and symptoms of drug dependence and describe the physical, psychological, social, and economic implications of drug abuse, such as physical, emotional, and mental instability, which may result in being a social and economic burden to society.
Again, for today's episode, we are going to discuss how to cite signs and symptoms of drug dependence, how to describe the physical, psychological, social, and economic implications of drug abuse, such as physical, emotional, and mental stability, which may result in being a social and economic burden to society. So, sit back and enjoy our discussion. Listen and you will learn a lot. This episode is going to be full of excitement and learnings. Are you now ready to learn? Okay, we're good to go. So we are moving on.
Yes, Sir Jake. I believe that our listeners are very much excited to join and listen to our discussion this morning. But before we move on, let us read first the question for our Tanong Ko, Sagot Mo. And the mechanic in winning this game is to text or comment the correct answer, and the first person who will send the correct answer will receive 50 pesos worth of load. Again, the first person who can text or comment the correct answer will receive 50 pesos worth of load. Sponsored by our Dr. Jerry Paghid, PSDS from Kawayan District 1. Thank you so much, Sir Paghid.
Now, here is the question for our Tanong Ko, Sagot Mo. What are the four kinds of effects of an addictive, and dangerous drug on a person? Again, the question is, what are the four kinds of effects of addictive and dangerous drugs on a person?
Kindly text your correct answer together with your complete name and address to 0930-777-2662 or 0912-49022253. Again, kindly send your correct answer together with your complete name and address to 0930-777-2662 or 0912-490-2253. For our viewers on Facebook Live, you can send your correct answer with your complete name, address, and cell phone number on our comment box. Again, to our viewers on Facebook Live, you can send your correct answer with your complete name, address, and cell phone number on our comment box so you may also win 50 pesos worth of load.
Yes, that is right, Sir Ruben. So dear listeners, you better listen attentively to our discussion to get the correct answer. Is everyone now ready to learn with us? Very good. Before we go on with our discussion, let us hear, understand, and analyze the story of Miguel. Are you ready? Very good.
Miguel was the only boy and the youngest among four siblings. He was the center of attention in their family. Everyone loved him. He had a loving family. His parents were open to him and they always listened to his problems. Miguel was also good looking. He was healthy, medium built, and very cheerful. He always joked with his sisters and parents. They were really a happy and close family. When Miguel went to college, he studied engineering. He then started going out with his friends in school. His friends were all smokers and drinkers. Drinking sprees, going to discos, and partying with their girlfriends were always part of their activities. Miguel wanted so much to be accepted by his friends. He tried smoking and drinking until he got used to them. When one of his friends invited him to try drugs, he could not refuse. He tried marijuana and eventually ended up using shabu, which was commonly used by most of his friends. They used it to keep them awake when studying at night. The cheerful Miguel suddenly started to change. He seldom talked to his family. He also often argued with his parents and sisters. He was always irritated and angry. Most importantly, his health deteriorated. He became thinner and he looked older than his age. Miguel never thought of what was happening to him. What was important was that he had his friends. He became so dependent on his friends because they were his source of drugs. So after listening to the story of Miguel, what did you feel after hearing the story? What is the story all about? As a learner, how are you going to avoid addictive and dangerous drugs?
Yes, dear learners, after hearing also this story of Miguel, we feel so sad about what happened to him, especially how he reacted badly to himself and to his family.
To our dear learners and listeners, This story is all about Miguel, who was a good looking, healthy, and very cheerful boy. A boy who was very close to his family and liked to joke around with them. But suddenly, when he went to college, he preferred to be with his friends who were drug users.
Since he started using drugs, he seldom talked to his family and often argued with them. He limited himself to a group of friends who also used drugs. He was always irritated and angry, became thinner, and looked older than his age.
So in order to avoid these addictive and dangerous drugs, you have to be aware, know the signs and symptoms of drug abuse, and of course the effects and impacts of drugs on a person.
There are many signs and symptoms of drug abuse. First is having a new or different set of friends. Again, having a new or different set of friends.
Next is becoming very sensitive. Again, becoming very sensitive. Then, staying away from home for long and explained periods. Again, staying away from home for long periods.
Next signs and symptoms of abusing drugs are lying and stealing. Again, lying and stealing. Then, we have becoming detached from family members and manifesting obvious toxic state like drunk, delirious, incoherent, unconscious. Again, becoming detached from family members and manifesting obvious toxic state like drunk, delirious, incoherent, and unconscious.
Then we have exhibiting changes in behavior and normal attitudes, showing deteriorating performance at school or at work, and becoming involved in criminal activities to raise money to sustain one's drug addiction. Again, exhibiting changes in behavior and normal attitudes, showing deteriorating performance at school or at work, and becoming involved in criminal activities to raise money to sustain one's drug addiction.
Well, dear learners, those are some signs and symptoms of drug abuse on a person. And now, let us talk about the 4 categories of the effects of drug abuse. Drug abuse is taking drugs in a manner or amount that is different from the prescribed by the doctor. This is harmful to the person and can lead to dependence or addiction.
The effects of drugs abuse are classified into 4 categories. All they are physical, emotional, mental, and social. Let's start with physical. Physical effects on one's body. Again, the effects of drugs abuse to our body is called physical. These effects can be malnutrition, liver and kidney damage, drastic weight loss, vitamin deficiencies, insomnia, heart failure, dizziness, nerve damage, sexual problems, and death. Again, the effects of abusing drugs to our body are malnutrition, liver and kidney damage, drastic weight loss, vitamin deficiencies, insomnia, heart failure, dizziness, nerve damage, sexual problems, and death.
Second category of effects of drug abuse is emotional. Drug abuse affects one's emotions and personality. Again, drug abuse affects one's emotions and personality. The effects of drugs abuse to our emotions are anxiety, depression, confusion, suspiciousness. Again, the effects of drug abuse to our emotions are anxiety, depression, confusion, and suspiciousness.
Now, the third category is mental, where drugs affects on one's mind. Again, abusing drugs affects on one's mind. The effects of abusing drugs in our mind are mental illness, impaired judgment, disorientation, paranoia, and psychosis. Again, the effects of abusing drugs to our mind are mental illness, impaired judgment, disorientation, paranoia, and psychosis.
The last category is social. Abusing drugs have effects on one's interpersonal relationships and economic status. Again, abusing drugs have effects on one's interpersonal relationships and economic status. These effects of abusing drugs in social are disrupted family life, disrupted friendships, financial problems, inefficiency at work or in school, marital separation, violent and dangerous behavior. Again, the effects of abusing drugs in social are disrupted family life, disrupted friendships, financial problems, inefficiency at work or in school, marital separations, violent and dangerous behavior.
Drug abuse also have effects on our health, sociocultural, psychological, legal, and economic dimensions. Let's talk first about our health. Because of drug abuse, our health will be at stake, and it's because of the rampant abuse of drugs, the physical aspect of an individual will function abnormally.
On sociocultural, drug abuse has its big contribution. It changes an individual's values to society. The common characteristics in the community will become uncommon. The norms, custom, attitude, and respect vanished.
Third is psychological. Psychology is the study of person's behavior. It describes the emotional and mental process that is associated with development of human brain. With drug abuse, the normal process of the human system will be affected because drugs are chemical substances that can alter our mind and body.
Fourth is legal drug abusers violates the law. Possessing, using, importing, or selling drugs is a violation of the law. People engaged in this activity will become hunted by the authority.
The last one is economic. Abusing drugs will affect economy in terms of low manpower production, lessened job opportunities, and poverty.
So, dear learners, did you get all the important information that we've discussed? Very good. But before we move on to our exercises, let's have a short recap. Drug abuse is taking of drugs in a manner or amount that is different from that prescribed by the doctor or from common practices. This is harmful to the person and can lead to dependence or addiction. Drug abuse is the use of illegal drugs and of so-called addictive and dangerous drugs.
The signs and symptoms of drug abuse are the following: having a new or different set of friends, becoming very sensitive, staying away from home or long unexplained periods, lying and stealing, becoming detached from family members, manifesting obvious toxic state like drunk, delirious, incoherent, and unconscious, exhibiting changes in behavior and normal attitudes, showing deteriorating performance at school or at work, and lastly is becoming involved in criminal activities just to raise money to sustain one's drug addiction.
Drug abuse can be a problem to our health, social, cultural, psychological, legal, and to our economy. So in order to be a good citizen in this country, all of us should be responsible enough in taking drugs as prescribed by the doctor.
Alright, did you get it? Very good. So now let's have an activity to boost your knowledge about the topic that we have discussed. Get your worksheets, and for those who have not been given yet, you can write your answer on a sheet of paper. In this activity, you have to write true if the statement cited or described is correct, and false if the statement is incorrect. Again, write true if the statement cited or described is correct, and write false if the statement is incorrect. Are you now ready? Let's go!
Okay, for number 1. Having a new or different set of friends is a sign and symptoms of drug abuse. Again, for number 1, having a new or different set of friends is a sign of a symptoms of drug abuse.
For number 2, lying and stealing are not a sign and symptom of drug abuse. Again, for number 2, lying and stealing are not a sign and symptom of drug abuse.
For number 3, manifesting obvious toxic state like drunk, delirious, incoherent, and unconscious is a sign and symptoms of a drug abuse. Again, for number 3, manifesting obvious toxic state like drunk, delirious, incoherent, and unconscious is a sign and symptoms of a drug abuse.
For number 4, showing deteriorating performance is not a sign and symptom of a drug abuse. Again, for number 4, showing deteriorating performance is not a sign and symptom of a drug abuse.
And for number 5, becoming involved in criminal activities is a sign and symptoms of a drug abuse. Again, for number 5, becoming involved in criminal activities is a sign of and symptoms of a drug abuse.
Next, for number 6, malnutrition is a physical effect of drug abuse. Again, malnutrition is a physical effect of drug abuse.
Number 7, liver and kidney damage is a mental effect of drug abuse. Again, for number 7, liver and kidney damage are mental effect of drug abuse.
For number 8, depression is an emotional effect of drug abuse. Again, for number 8, depression is an emotional effect of drug abuse.
And for number 9, violence is a social effect of drug abuse. Again, for number 9, violence is a social effect of drug abuse.
And now for the last number, for number 10, impaired judgment is a mental effect of drug abuse. Again, for the last number, impaired judgment is a mental effect of drug abuse.
Are you done answering? Very good. Then let us check your answers. For number 1, the correct answer is true. For number 2, the correct answer is false. For number 3, the correct answer is true. For number 4, the correct answer is false. And for number 5, the correct answer is true.
And now the correct answer for number 6 is true. For number 7, it is false. For number 8, it is true. For number 9, the correct answer is true. And for number 10, it is true.
So how was it, our dear learners? Did you get the perfect score? If you did, then very good. But if you got 3 correct answers and below, don't worry because we still have another activity. Just do your best for the next activity.
So for our final activity, read carefully the direction in the worksheet provided by your implementer. Again, for our final activity, read carefully the direction on the worksheet provided by your implementer. For those learners who don't have a worksheet yet, all you have to do is, for test A, cite the 10 signs and symptoms of drug abuse on a person. And for test B, describes why drugs are burden to our health, sociocultural, psychological, legal, and economic status. You may write a poem, a collage, a song, draw a cartoon, poster, etc.
Again, cite the 10 signs and symptoms of drug abuse on a person. And for test B, describe how drugs are burden to our health, sociocultural, psychological, legal, and economic status. You may write a poem, a collage, a song, draw a cartoon, poster, and etc.
So did you get it? Very good. Dear learners, you can continue answering your activity after this episode. Submit your works to your implementer on your next session.
That is all for today's discussion and sharing of new ideas. But before we end this session, we will announce first who will receive the 50 pesos worth of load. Do we have a winner now, Sir Ruben?
Yes, Sir Jake. And our winner for today's Tanong Ko, Sagot Mo is no other than Bernadette Ingüeto from Barangay Talustusan, Naval, Biliran. And her answer is physical, mental, social, and emotional. Again, congratulations to Miss Bernadette Ingüeto. You got the correct answer.
For those unlucky winners, don't worry because our Tanong Ko, Sagot Mo will continue in the next episode of Als Radyo Eskwela. Please do not forget to tune in to 103.9 Radyo Natin FM on May 24, 2021. Still on the same time at 11 to 11:30 in the morning for another exciting discussion that will give us new ideas and learnings.
So our valued learners, if you have any questions or clarifications, don't be shy. Always feel free to text, call, or chat your ALS implementers for more information and clarification.
Another episode has ended. I hope you have learned new knowledge from our discussion. I am teacher Jonal Jake Escuton, who will always remind you to keep listening while learning to Als Radyo Eskwela. Every Mondays and Fridays, 11 to 11:30 in the morning, only in 103.9 Radyo Natin FM Naval, Biliran.
Live life to the fullest with good deeds and not a burden to our society. Be a drug-free and not a victim. I am Teacher Ruben Igay. Stay safe, God bless, and once again, good morning. And this is